It's Christmas Eve in L.A.
California.
Is Daddy coming home too?
Well, we'll see what Santa and Mommy can do, okay?
And New York Cop John McClane has come to see his wife.
I missed you.
Instead, he's going to have to save her.
Sit down.
Within this skyscraper high above the city, 12 terrorists have declared war.
They're about to be taught a lesson in the real use of power.
They're as brilliant
Because I am interested in the $640 million in your vault.
as they are ruthless.
And I'm telling you, you're just going to have to kill me. Okay. We do it the hard way.
Now, the last thing McClane wants
Think, damn it, think.
is to be a hero.
Where's Holly? Hey, Tucker! Where?
But he doesn't have a choice.
What does he think he's doing? They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm wearing a pizza?
He's inside? Who is he? Who are you then? You are most troublesome for a security guard.
Yeah, sorry, wrong guess, huh? Would you like to go for double jeopardy?
Do you really think you have a chance against our sadistic cowboy?
Yippee-Kiya, mother. You just destroyed a building. I am in charge of this situation. Well, I got some bad news for you. Come up here, then look like you're in charge of Jack.
He is alone, he is tired, and he hasn't seen Dippin' Squat from anybody down here.
Hey, pal, how you feeling?
All things being equal, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
And you'll have it.
Only John can drive somebody that crazy.
He's an easy guy to like
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
and a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew?
You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, The Voice, Jeff Tucker.
I'd have to check on the list here in my handy-dandy notebook to see where we left off, but it's been a long time coming. I started out doing the films of 1989 thinking it might be 45 minutes. I think that was at least 2 hours plus. And then there was a lull, lots of episodes there, and then I started in on going backwards, the films of 1988. And I got stuck. I got stuck because I hit two in a row that needed their own complete episode. That being, I did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and then I stopped because the next film released the next week, June 29th, 1988, was Coming to America, and it finally took Patreon pledger Michael Bondi to pick that movie to spur me on to continue on doing the list. But you know, I'd love this sort of snapshot in time episode of movies, you know, and not just like a singular memory, you know, where I tell a story about something that happened to me, but more like just this is the summer, and then we'll move into the fall of 1988. Born in 71, September, so I'm still 16 at this point. Very young, very stupid. I think at this point I had started to grow my hair really long, and I had a mullet, and I had these Converse that they sold where you were supposed to, like, they went all the way up to your knee, but you were supposed to fold them down. But I didn't fold them down. I actually wore them as giant Converse boots, and I looked ridiculous. Acid wash jeans. I had one good piece of clothing that my stepdad bought for me for Christmas. I had a Gennaro sweatshirt. I don't even know what Gennaro was no concept other than it was like in 1988, I think it was like $45, $50 for this sweatshirt. So that's a big deal, folks. When you're talking about, I always compare it to the minimum wage. I think minimum wage was like maybe $3, maybe $2. It was really low. So, of course, the cost of living was a lot different back then. But I had this Gennaro sweatshirt, and I just thought I was like, I wore it a lot because I thought, man, when I wear this, the women just melt. And while they didn't exactly melt, I had a Gennaro sweatshirt. And I didn't have the name brand pants. Remember the name brand pants were Cavaricci's. If anybody out there's my age remembers Cavaricci pants. And you were supposed to take the bottom of the pants and fold them against your leg and then roll them up. I don't know who invented this, but you know what? I could never get them to stay. I could do it one time. One time I could do it, and then it would, after about 3 steps, it would just unfurl. So I used to take my pants at home, and I would fold them, and then I would tape them with packing tape, and then roll them up. And if I was at school, no joke, one time I stapled my pants. Because you were supposed to, like they were supposed to be rolled a certain way. So, I know that well, the guys in the 80s, we had it easy compared to the girls with crimpers and I mean all the stupid stuff women had to wear in the 80s. The worst I think of the 80s, not to digress, were the deliberately ripped pants. Like I didn't get that because growing up, like if you ripped a hole in the knee of your pants, your mother would kill you. And like if you ripped a hole in your dungarees or your garanimals, you had to get a big patch put over it so you look like a scarecrow. But like somewhere along the line, that was a fashion thing. And I remember anybody who grew up in the 80s knows this exact moment where that wasn't me, but my sister would like ask for a pair of pants, and my mother would go, "You want me to pay $35 for a pair of pants that are deliberately ripped? Are you out of your freaking mind? We can go to the thrift store and you can rip your own pants." And a lot of kids did. A lot of kids did that. But oh my God, my stupid Gennaro sweatshirt. So, long story endless. I'm sitting here in the Cafe 80s. It's Thursday night, about 10, almost 10:45. It's just rained a bit, and you know, this is my favorite time to sit out here. I'm alone. It's dark. It's cold. Like it won't be cold for very much longer. I'm going to come out here at any time of the day or night, and it's going to be a gazillion degrees out here. But for right now, it's cold. I got a good topic I want to talk about, and the mic is giant. And it has that Larry King vibe, you know, ghosts and ghost bustings. You know, heck, my grandma used to spin yards about a spectral locomotive that would speed past her farmhouse. But we're going to get down to it, right? So after coming to America, we move into July. July 6th. Now, think about this. The way they do it now is pretty much no matter where July 4th hits, somebody's got a movie coming out. You know, they will find a Wednesday or a Tuesday night to get that sucker out because they know that July 4th has become a big movie day. But I don't think it was back in the 80s. I think people still hung out with their families and had barbecues with potato salad and, you know, normal people. Not like us, but normal people. But because Coming to America comes out June 29th, and there's nothing in the Wednesday before that, or Wednesday after that. So we have to wait all the way through July 6th. So License to Drive comes out, and there's no, there's nothing, License to Drive doesn't get the July 4th holiday to make any money. So if you ever remember License to Drive, this is Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, the two Coreys. This might have been, I think, the first big outing for those two. About two guys desperate to get their driver's license. It's not a very good film. It's a silly film. I was not into these guys. I liked Corey Feldman from Goonies and Lost Boys and Gremlins. But as he moved into his, I'm a teen sensation, immediately I rejected it. It wasn't aimed at me. It was aimed at girls. So I didn't, wasn't my thing. Corey Haim, I other than Lucas, and he was in Lost Boys, right? I never really got the appeal. I just didn't get it, and it's okay, I've said a lot of times, they're just whole fads and careers that I don't, they're just not for me. I don't know. This was also, I think, if not her film debut, but her big film debut, Heather Graham in License to Kill. Heather Graham, who would go on to Boogie Nights and Spy Who Shagged Me and The Hangover. So big career for Heather Graham, still sustaining, which I think is great. Good for her. Especially for someone Hollywood always seems to ostracize women who do all full nudity, and I know in Boogie Nights she's Roller Girl, and she's only wearing a pair of roller skates. But July 6th also saw the release of Short Circuit 2. This is the sequel, obviously, to Short Circuit. I enjoyed Short Circuit. Short Circuit 2, not so much. I can tell you why. First off, they show you an entire army of Johnny No. 5 toy robots that they didn't market. And I could never figure that out. Why wasn't Johnny 5 marketed as a toy? Even today, folks, where nearly every single nameable project, franchise, whatever, has gotten at least one or two toys, there has never been a Johnny 5 toy. I can't figure that out. That's weird to me. Because I know, McFarlane toys and NECA toys and even SOTA, state-of-the-art toys, they were doing these lines where they didn't have to have a movie taking up an entire toy line, but they would just have one figure from from a bunch of different movies. And I know that Johnny 5 just seems like a no-brainer. Why hasn't there been a Johnny 5 action figure? Why hasn't there been a Johnny 5 remote control toy? Johnny 5 was arguably a pretty big character, and it's irritating because in Short Circuit 2 they do show the toys. This movie came out on VHS when I worked at the video store, and I would have to warn parents. I was that really, I was the amazing video store clerk. I would hold a movie for you and not tell anybody. I would make sure your movies were rewound, and if you rented a movie like Short Circuit 2, I would pull you aside and go, hey, you got young kids? Beware, they brutally murder Johnny 5 in this movie, and he bleeds oil all over the place as if it's blood. True story, folks. That happens in the movie. And I can't believe, other than Chappie and Wall-E, I can't believe that Short Circuit has never been rebooted. It seems like a natural. It's got name recognition. There were two movies. It's not a one-hit wonder. Totally bizarre to me. Maybe there's some sort of legal battle, Maybe Short Circuit 2 suffers because it doesn't have that amazing El DeBarge song, Who's Johnny? Which is not about a robot, but about a woman who's cheating on a guy who really loves her. Listen to the lyrics, folks. Interesting. Short Circuit 2, and again has Fisher Stevens, white guy, is he Jewish? I don't know, playing an Indian guy. Always just bizarre casting choices. But not a bizarre film marketed to kids that will actually might give them nightmares. The Johnny 5 murder scene is pretty bad. I mean, he is bleeding oil all over the place. Okay, so those films had a week to themselves, and then July 8th, 1988. See, I didn't realize this was a summer film. If you'd asked me off the cuff, I'd have said that Arthur 2 on the Rocks was a fall film, but, what do I know? Arthur 2, obviously the sequel to Arthur. I've done a whole episode on Arthur and what that film means to me. Arthur 2 is not a bad movie. The only problem is that it has to stand up to the first film, which is a masterpiece. So, what are you going to do? Arthur 2 on the Rocks reunites the entire cast. Even Sir John Gielgud, who died in the first film, returns in the sequel. It's a story of, it's a reverse story. It opens with Arthur and Linda trying to adopt a baby from a pre-fame Kathy Bates. And through a turn of events, Arthur has all his money stolen, and he has to go get a job. And everywhere he gets a job, the powers that are trying to get him to divorce Linda and marry Susan are preventing him from any kind of success. He gets a job, he gets fired. And it's like, the guy's like, I don't want to fire you, Arthur, but we got new owners. And he's like, everywhere I go, Susan's father, Bert, is buying the business and kicking him out. But it's a cute movie. I enjoy it. I've seen it a lot simply because Dudley Moore is a comic genius. And even though the film is not as good as the first one, he's fantastic in it. Sadly, the guy who wrote and directed the first Arthur, he died shortly thereafter. So when it came time to do a sequel, they just had to, they had to go a different route. The poor guy, he died. Sometimes you only get one or two movies out of these really talented people. It's quite sad. Arthur 2 has a lot of funny, very quotable lines. They're trying to figure out a name for the baby. He goes, we should name the baby Senator. Give him a head start, Senator Bach. They go to visit to look at an apartment to rent, and the landlord says it has IOL in every room, and they can't figure out what it means. They go, what is IOL? And he goes, instant on lighting. And they're like, oh, instant on lighting. And then there's a really funny scene where Arthur gets a lottery scratcher, and the Linda's father is explaining to him, so you take this, Arthur, and you scratch it, and if you get 3 of a kind, you win $1 million. So if I win 350 million of these, I'll be back where I'm started. Let's just concentrate on the first million. Really funny movie, really sweet. Of course, it all ends well. I love Arthur, so by proxy, I love, by osmosis, I have to have this movie. It's funny, if you know me, you know that I collect things, and I've bought these movies over and over again. And when I bought my DVD player, I just now I have a new format. So all those movies that I bought before, because I had Arthur and Arthur 2 on the Rocks on VHS, and then I bought them on Laserdisc. I'm like, well, I got to buy them on DVD as well. And when I started, filling in my collection with, these are movies I already owned, so I'm just buying them again. DVDs at this point, I would go to Best Buy, and they had a really small section. And Warner Brothers, which puts out Arthur, was pretty good about a healthy selection of back catalog, of back titles. But they were all $30 a piece. These were not cheap. I think you could probably pick up Arthur 2 on DVD on eBay for about 79 cents. But the one I have is the one I bought, 99 or 2000, whenever it first came out, $30 freaking dollars. Man, am I a sucker having bought these movies over and over. You just can't believe it. I looked the other day, I was at Barnes & Noble, and I was looking at the Back to the Future Blu-ray set. I already own Back to the Future on Blu-ray. But this is the mega set with the cartoon series, as if I'm ever going to sit down and watch the Back to the Future cartoon series. Spoiler alert, I already own them on DVD as a bootleg, so I'm one of those guys that the studios love. I just keep buying and plunking down my money for the Buzz Lightyear with the new belt, the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, and the Malibu Stacy because she has a new hat. Okay, July 13th. So 5 days later, we get the Deadpool. This was, I believe, the last Dirty Harry movie. Clint Eastwood, the Deadpool. It's not a bad movie. I saw it after the fact. I didn't see it in the theater. If you know me, I wasn't really into like macho action movies yet. That's all going to change very soon. But I will let you know when that happens because it's going to happen very, very soon. But I didn't see the Deadpool on the big screen. I saw it on the small screen. And Deadpool is notable because they have a character in it who is supposed to be Axl Rose, and it's played by Jim Carrey. So if you want to see Jim Carrey in a bizarre role at the early start of his career, at least the early start of his film career, because he'd done some TV, check out the Deadpool, right? So July 15th, 2 days later, saw the big screen re-release of Bambi. I did not go see Bambi. At age 16, the last thing I was going to go see was a very old Disney cartoon on the big screen, which is funny because a year later, I went and saw Peter Pan on the big screen. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? But July 15th, A Fish Called Wanda came out. If you've never seen A Fish Called Wanda, I envy you because it's a very, very good movie. This is the movie that got Kevin Kline an Oscar playing Otto the Hitman. It also cemented Kevin Kline as a versatile, well-rounded actor because at this point he was a song and dance man from Pirates of Penzance and he was a dramatic actor from Sophie's Choice. So here he is, a tour de force in Fish Called Wanda. If you've never seen Fish Called Wanda, a synopsis, if I can even attempt it, it is about a jewel heist and a bunch of characters who can't trust each other, but it stars most of Monty Python. So is Monty Python getting together and making a bizarre non-Monty Python movie? John Cleese is in it. Michael Palin is in it. Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Kline, and it's just tour de force comedy. Michael Palin plays a guy who loves animals, and through a series of misadventures, there's a woman who's got like 5 or 6 little dogs that she walks every day, and he ends up killing them all one by one. I know that doesn't sound funny, but in the context of the film, it's very, very funny, and Michael Palin's very funny in it. But the movie is owned by Kevin Kline as Otto. He is so funny, so on the mark. You watch it, you go, well, of course he won an Oscar. He's electric in every scene. And like I said, it cemented Kevin Kline as the comedy actor, like a really good one. And he would, he did a whole string of really well-done movies. You know, one day we'll just sit down and do all the Kevin Kline movies, because I love Kevin Kline. But he made a film in the early 90s called Dave, that to me is considered one of my favorite. It's in my top 10 comedies. It's as good as Arthur, and that's high praise indeed. But here's the thing. Fish Called Wanda came out on video probably early spring 89. Because back then there was a longer gestation period from theatrical release to VHS release. And when it finally showed up on home video, by that time, Kevin Kline had won the Oscar, and that kind of buzz was really important. Like, it doesn't seem important now, because by the time the Oscars are on, most of those movies have hit home video. I know there are exceptions, like those movies that come out Christmas Day, like The Revenant, that sort of thing, and they still benefit from that Academy Award boost. But boy, Fish Called Wanda, a lot of people caught it in theater, but a lot of people, when he finally won the Oscar, were like, Fish Called Wanda? Because you know what? The title's crazy. A Fish Called Wanda? Like, there is a woman in the movie named Wanda, Jamie Lee Curtis. There is a fish called Wanda in the movie. And it's all, like, it's just a movie of English manners and turnabout and switchabout. And a lot of people, it got a lot of buzz. So when it arrived on home video, it was a pretty big deal at the video store. So the owner decided to have like a promotion for it. And what he did was he got a fish tank and he put it at the checkout counter. Because, you know, remember, Blockbuster, the movies were in the boxes. But at mom and pop video stores, they were terrified you were going to shoplift that $70 videotape. So they were all behind the counter. You brought the empty box up to the counter, and we then checked the movie out to you. So at the checkout counter, he had a fish tank filled with Pepperidge Farm goldfish, and you could reach in and get a handful. And, I mean, it sounds fun, right? But I'm really picky about food, or at least, I mean, I'm not anymore. When you have kids, that goes out the window. But in 1988 or early 89, I was very picky. And the idea that everybody was putting their hands into what I knew to already be a generally dirty fish tank to eat crackers that had been sitting out for hours and days, the whole thing completely grossed me out. But hey, the promotion worked because that movie was checked out all the time. And I even purchased it on Laserdisc. There was a pseudo sequel to Fish Called Wanda. A lot of people don't realize this. It was called Fierce Creatures. It was about a zoo. It didn't fare as well. It's not as widely known. It's not a perennial where you can go to the store and all. I mean, if you looked hard enough, you could probably still find Fish Called Wanda, but you'd never find Fierce Creatures. Nobody's even heard of it. But there was a pseudo sequel. So remember when I said I didn't like action movies? Like, I was very particular. To me, an action movie had to have a robot in it. I needed RoboCop in it. I needed Terminator in it. I didn't just go see straight action movies. I didn't. I never got into Chuck Norris or Rambo or Delta Force or any of those movies that were pretty big in the 80s that pretty much everybody wanted to see. Like, there was a movie with the first big Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Bloodsport. Like, we couldn't keep that thing checked in. I've never even seen it. Like, I know it's about kickboxing, but I just remember, like, Bloodsport? Like, I want to watch a movie called Bloodsport. I don't. That doesn't interest me at all. Well, it's got a lot of action in it. A lot of guys beating up on a lot of guys. I don't. Okay. Here's your film, sir. You can take it to the counter and pay for it. But all of that would change before you guys know. You've got to know what movie I'm about to talk about. It came out July 15th. 1988. Now, let's rewind to January 1988. Every January, late December, early January, the LA Times calendar section, which was the movie fans' Bible, came out with the Sneaks issue. Sneaks. It was every single movie coming out that year. And if you were lucky, there was even a picture. And I would get that thing, and I used to save them. At one point, I had a whole stack of them. But I would circle them and read them again and again, what movies I wanted, what was I excited for. You know, there's a George Lucas movie coming out called Willow, and all these exciting different movies. And then, I'll never forget it, for the Sneaks 1988, there was a little small picture of Bruce Willis holding a machine gun and screaming. And I remember looking at it going, that looks weird. Bruce Willis? Well, he's the comedy guy. Because Bruce Willis at that time was primarily known for Moonlighting, one of the most popular shows of the 80s. Him and Sybil Shepherd owned the 80s with Moonlighting. Some walk by day. I mean, it was huge. We never missed an episode of Moonlighting. But he had done movies. He had done Blind Date. He had done Sunset. He had done comedy movies. He was a comedic actor. Not just a comedic actor. Like, hey, the guy's funny. Like a goofy. Like Bruce Willis always played a silly part. Goofy, silly. David Addison on Moonlighting was a goof. One of my favorite sequences on Moonlighting is they're trying to track down a missing woman. And Maddie Hayes, played by Sybil Shepherd, is staring out the window. And she goes, you know, that woman's out there. And Bruce Willis behind her goes, no, she's not. No, she's out there somewhere. And he goes, no, she's not. And like that's the Bruce Willis we knew. He was a goof. He sold us Seagram's Golden Wine Coolers as Bruno. He had an album out of music where he played the harmonica, and he had a persona named Bruno, and the album was called The Return of Bruno. And he would sing about coolers on TV. He'd sing, Seagram's Golden Wine Coolers is wet and is dry. Like, he was silly. Comedic actor. So I'm looking at this picture of Bruce Willis. He's got a machine gun and he's screaming. And I'm like, well, what's the gag here? And then I looked at the title, and the title was Die Hard, which, okay, maybe it's a big comedy, because Die Hard's the name of a battery. They sell those batteries at Sears, and it's a pretty big name brand. So this movie was not on anybody's radar. Die Hard was a blip in the 1988 scene. I mean, you're talking about Coming to America, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. These are massive movies. And there's some film called Die Hard where the goofball from Moonlighting is going to battle some unknown English actor in his film debut. Well, who is it? I don't know. Alan Rickman or something? I don't know who I don't know who that guy is. And then we all went and saw Die Hard, directed by John McTiernan. Unmistakably John McTiernan, with all of those lens flares. Before J.J. Abrams, there was John McTiernan. And what unfolded on the screen starts off, Bruce Willis plays John McClane, a New York cop going to Los Angeles for Christmas to see his estranged wife, played by Bonnie Bedelia. And he gets to Nakatomi Plaza, and terrorists take over, and arguably the most influential action movie of the 1980s unspools on the screen, and we are transfixed. Die Hard was a revelation. Like, it seems so blasé now. And if you watch it now, the action still holds up. The comedy still holds up. It's a little. It takes a few tangents that they wouldn't take nowadays because audiences wouldn't put up with it. The what's his name from Family Matters, the cop going to get the Twinkies and all that. Like, it's kind of silly, you know. But the rest of it with Paul Gleason, and you're gonna get out of there. What's the cop's name? I don't remember. You're gonna get out of there alive, John. There's people pulling for you, you know. And like, this movie changed the way action movies were thought of. Because after Die Hard, every action movie wanted to be Die Hard in a blank. Jean-Claude Van Damme did Sudden Death, Die Hard at a hockey arena. We had Air Force One, Die Hard on a plane. We had, there's a lot of them. Die Hard in a blank, Die Hard in a blank. And they all go back to Die Hard. And 20th Century Fox took a risk. They put Bruce Willis in as a wisecracking cop, hoping that it would work. And you know what? For the first, 35, 40 minutes, it's a pretty by-the-numbers action movie where the smart aleck cop, the wrong guy in the wrong place, is the fly in the ointment, Yippee-Kiya. And it's by the numbers, but what elevates it is two things. And you know what I'm going to say. The first is Alan freaking Rickman. Alan Rickman, Hans Gruber. Yippee-Ki-Yay, Hans. Alan Rickman strolls on in what Alan Rickman should have been a Bond villain. Because the only movies that had these kind of villains were James Bond movies. But here's a gritty, LA-based action movie. We're not going to globetrot. We're going to stay right in the Nakatomi building. And he is phenomenal as Han. I mean, you know, it's a star turn. You watch that movie and he's a star. And he was a star right up until the second he passed away last year. Alan Rickman's the man in everything that he did. And it all starts with, are you joking, his film debut in Die Hard. Classically trained Shakespearean actor turns up as a bad guy in what should have been just another action movie. So that's the first thing that sets it apart. The second is when they shoot the glass. And that scene where you follow the trail of blood and you watch Bruce Willis wrap his feet because he hasn't got any freaking shoes on. And that's when you realize you're watching a different kind of action movie. They are rewriting the rules. Steven D'Souza wrote Die Hard. It was based on the novel 58 Minutes by Roderick Thorpe. I'm doing this all from memory because I'm a nerd. But Die Hard was one of those revelation movies. It didn't have to have 35 sets or locations. You just had to have one compelling one. And if you watch Die Hard with a critical eye, you see how methodically McTiernan is setting up the locale piece by piece by piece so that you, the audience member, always know where the characters are in relation to each other. You know, there's a moment where Bruce Willis says hi to the pinup girls again. And that's like such smart filmmaking because he's telling you, the audience, what's going on. Where are they in the context of the plot? Now, this was produced by Joel Silver, who produced a lot of the best action movies of the last 30 years, 40 years. And you can tell it's a Joel Silver movie because for no reason, a woman runs by topless. And that's just such a Joel Silver thing to do. Now, Joel Silver appeared on screen just a couple of weeks earlier in Roger Rabbit as the director. Rabbit gets hit, rabbit sees stars. A tweeting bird? Ah, Roger. But, my God, Die Hard's good. Everybody gets a moment to shine. You know, Argyle, how you doing, Argyle? Argyle thwarts their getaway plan. Bonnie Bedelia taunts him. What's his name? Stiles tries to make a deal and gets shot. Mr. Nakatomi doesn't play ball, and he won't be joining us for the rest of his life. There's a terrorist that looks like Huey Lewis. And then the guy who played Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted shows up as a terrorist. And they have the perfect plan. And what's his name? Vance? Not Vance. I would say Vance Stryker, but no, it's... I can't think of his name. But he would show up again in Red October. He's the guy... He's their systems analyst, you know. Oh, the police have themselves a 4x4. And it's toast. Like, that guy, he's great. His name's right on the tip. Courtney P. Vance. Courtney P. Vance. There you go. For 500, Alex. Just a great, great movie. There's a couple of matte paintings that are pretty bad. But that's okay. The effects were done by Richard Edlund's Boss Films. No complaints. The story alone is what carries it. It's another good case of taking the source material, in this case, 58 minutes, and really just grinding out only the important story elements and making one of the most cohesive, well-done action movies ever made. You heard me right. McTiernan hits it out of the park. He had previously done Predator. He would go on to do Hunt for Red October and Medicine Man and Die Hard with a Vengeance. And then he would get stuck in movie jail because he got thrown in jail for wiretapping or something. I don't know. But McTiernan's a good director. I think he directed 13th Warrior, too. Great director. Just solid action. And Die Hard is the best of the best of the best. And it gave Bruce Willis a career that even spans today. Like, Bruce Willis is still coasting. Like, he's made some good movies, but he's eternally coasting on John McClane. They made sequels. Die Harder by Rennie Harlan was okay. We'll do full reviews on those at some point. Die Hard with a Vengeance is great. McTiernan returns and adds Samuel L. Jackson, 1995. And then he laid dormant for a while, and then we have Live Free or Die Hard, A Good Day to Die Hard. And in the interest of box office, they watered him down, took out the good part of Yippee-Kiya, but really a stellar film. And you know what? Also, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention William Atherton, who plays the idiot reporter. William Atherton made a career of playing an a-hole, from Ghostbusters to Real Genius to Die Hard. He played an a-hole so good that I think people really hated him, which is a testament to his acting, but couldn't have made his life very pleasant. But man, all of you listening, remember the first time you saw Die Hard? Like, what's the best scene? Is it when he drags his feet? Is it when he shoots that guy through the table? Is it when he oh God, I love it. When he ties the fire hose around his waist and jumps off the building and when it blows up? Because it's not over, because then he has to beat the glass, shoot the glass, swing in the glass, land on the table, and then unhook him before it pulls him out the window. That's action, folks. But to me, no, it's easy. The best scene in the movie is when him and Hans end up together. And he goes, you're one of them, aren't you? Oh, and who are you? Clay. Bill Clay. And just how that scene plays out, the tension, and then the reveal of he's really Hans, and McClane already knows, and there's no bullets in the gun. Oh, it's so good. Die Hard's a movie, and there's a bunch of them, but Die Hard's one of those movies, you talk about it, and you're like, you're Jones, and I want to watch it. Man, I'd watch it right now if I didn't spend all my time doing these episodes. I'd watch it and then go to bed. But Die Hard changed everything. Everything became Die Hard in a blank. Also, the heroes started to bleed after Die Hard because they realized people wanted to see heroes that were flawed. And McClane is flawed. He's got a bad relationship with his wife. Never patched it up. You know, she's Holly Gennaro. Wait a minute. Is she Holly Gennaro? Like my sweatshirt? I don't know. But stellar filmmaking. Like, Die Hard's one of those movies you left the theater on a high. Even though it ends with, the weather outside is, you know what I mean? It ends with Christmas music because it's a Christmas movie. It's one of those weird, it's not a Shane Black movie, but it's one of those Shane Black Christmas in summertime movies that he loves to make, like Long Kiss Goodnight and Iron Man 3. But Die Hard, baby. It doesn't get better than that. I mean, that's a summer right there. We're going to end right there because the next film, I talked mostly about Die Hard this episode, right? But we're going to move through July 20th, 1988. One of my all-time favorite movies comes out. I know I keep saying that. I just love movies, you know? And they're like popcorn. I can't stop. But this is a movie that came and went in theaters. It was not on my radar. And then this is going to sound so crazy. After I graduated high school, I went through a identity crisis. Like, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do. Like everybody. Everybody has this. What am I supposed to be doing? And at the time, there were a lot of bookstores around. So I went into Walden Books. They don't even exist anymore. There used to be, in the mall, there used to be two bookstores, Walden and B. Dalton. Two of them. Sometimes even a Crown bookseller. But I went into Walden's, and I went into their performing arts section, and I just, there's no internet back then. So if you want to get the vibe of what's going on, you got to look to books. I still do because I'm old. But I picked up a book, and it was called, is the title that gets you. It was called It Would Be So Nice If You Weren't Here. And it's the first of a series of memoirs written by Charles Grodin. Now, I didn't know who Charles Grodin was. He wasn't on my radar. I think this is pre-Beethoven, because, Beethoven's what made him uber famous as far as people under 30. But I picked up It Would Be So Nice If You Weren't Here, My Journey Through Show Business, and I read it again and again and again. And not to get into it, but it is the story of a guy who keeps failing over and over again. Grodin had so little success, and when he did get success, he didn't know what to do with it, squandered it until he kept having to beg for second chances. And his big second chance in Hollywood was Midnight Run. So I read all these chapters on Midnight Run, and then I finally had to sit down and watch the movie, and I've seen Midnight Run like 100 times or more. Like, I watch it all the time. It's such a easily watchable movie with such repeatability. So I'm going to desperately try to get my friend Adrian on the show. We had him booked a while back, and one thing led to another, and it just didn't work out. But Adrian loves Midnight Run as much as I do. We quote the movie incessantly to each other, even when nobody knows what we're talking about. Don't say a word, Sydney. Don't say a word. I will take that phone and I will bury it in your head. I love Midnight Run. So when we finally go back to the movies of 1988, we will pick up right on July 20th with Charles Grodin, Robert De Niro, Yaphet Kotto, in a film directed by Martin Brest, Midnight freaking Run. I love it. What a movie to hold off for. So hope you liked this, another installment of the movies of 1988. It's been a pleasure sitting here on this rainy Thursday night chatting with you. Check us out on Facebook, like our page, give us a review on iTunes. We have a Patreon page if you want to pick a movie or you want to be on the show when you're local. Come, everybody comes down and bees on the show. Who talks like that? Everybody just comes down, hangs out, and we're on the show. It's fine. You can come out and we talk about whatever we want to talk about. Even if there's nothing to talk about. We're also running our GoFundMe page to try to create a series of Don Berg cartoons. So please go to GoFundMe, search Don Berg or Jeff Tucker or 91 Reasons. Share the link. Get your friends to donate. If everybody donated a couple of bucks, we'd be able to make episodes till the cows come home. But, I get it. Times are tough. Money's tight. I know exactly what you're talking about. So if you don't have that kind of scratch, that's fine too. We're all just friends. We're all just hanging around the electronic fireplace here chatting. Yesterday was May the 4th be with you. I hate all that crap. We just went through Alien Day 426. It's just to sell toys, which is ironic because there are no Star Wars toys to buy. Everything sucks. The Ghostbusters toys are starting to hit. It's the only reason I was excited about the movie, and let me tell you, they're just really cheap. I could do 2 hours on what's happened to the toy aisle. Why do the toys from 20 years ago look better than the ones on the shelf now? I can't figure it out. Sculpting's gotten better. Laser imaging has gotten better. McFarlane toys are photoreal with articulation at a decent price. Why can't the big boys do that? And don't tell me it's licensing, because McFarlane's putting out Walking Dead, the #1 show on television. Funko's putting out Game of Thrones. Hasbro can't get decent Star Wars toys to the market, and Mattel's Ghostbuster line is lame. Now, I bought one because that's what I do. I bought the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It wasn't until I got home that I realized he's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man as a balloon. So that just says that the synopsis that I read online is actually true. So that doesn't bode well for that movie. But hey, the proof's in the pudding. Not until the film unspools. They don't unspool anymore. Not until the film downloads onto a screen near you will we know. So hey, my eyes are clouding up. My contact lenses hurt. I got to edit these shows now. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I'm Jeff Tucker, and Yippee-Kiya, 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
Who are you, then?
Just a fly in the ointment, Hans. A monkey in the wrench. A pain in the ass.
You have me at a loss. You know my name, but who are you? Just another American who saw too many movies as a child? Another orphan of a bankrupt culture who thinks he's John Wayne, Rambo, Marshall Dillon?
I was always kind of partial to Roy Rogers, actually. I really like those sequin shirts.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-Kiya.